post-COVID lockdown, how the fashion sustainability issue has really sort of come to light with people. And they're, you know, realizing, so as per your intro, that, you know, fashion is the second highest offender in terms of damage done to the environment by a particular industry. And I think the COVID times were quiet, peaceful. People became much more aware of the environment and how precious it is and wanted to look after it a bit more. We've as we started to come out of lockdown, we've noticed things have got a lot busier, and particularly on the rental side, people are really keen to support what we're doing.
I'm sure. Well, we'll come on to that in a second, but I wanted to start by saying I remember many years ago that you were either given or treated yourself to a second-hand Chanel handbag for Christmas. Is that right, or am I imagining?
Yeah, I think so. When sort of second-hand was probably something that was a bit, you know, wasn't necessarily what the fashion girls were particularly.
Exactly.
Not that much girls, but it wasn't necessarily something that they were particularly into. And it's statistic now. You know, times have really changed. The second-hand market is growing 25 times faster than the regular retail market. So that's an indication of quite how times are changing. A lot of it's being driven by the Depop generation, so the Gen Z and the millennials, for whom buying resale is kind of it's an immediate, it's a thought process and part of their purchase consideration. So, you know, they're not thinking, shall I go onto the high street and buy something? Shall I buy fast fashion? They're, you know, as part of that thought process, they're also thinking, shall I buy secondhand? Which is a really good development. Yeah.
And so give us an overview of how MyWardrobeHQ came to be, and is it the culmination of a fire which started all that way back when you purchased that Chanel handbag? Has it always been in you?
Actually, sadly, probably not really. But actually, do you know what? Everything we do is a combination of all of our past experience, isn't it? But I was working in the car sharing industry for a while, actually doing some work with the Future Drive section of BMW. And what we were seeing was that there was sort of low resistance to men sharing their cars. And for a lot of men, you know, their cars really are their pride and joy. And we were looking at sort of peer-to-peer car sharing initiatives. And then I contacted a friend of mine, Tina Lake, who I'd worked with previously, who'd set up a very visionary business, not dissimilar actually to Farfetch, but prior to Farfetch, called London Boutiques. And so I contacted her and I said, what do you think about this? You know, I'm seeing this trend in car rental where, you know, but men are very happy sharing their cars. They can monetize them. It works really well for both consumers and for the owner of the item. What if we applied it to fashion? Do you think we could make that work and have a sort of fashion sharing economy? And she immediately said, yeah, absolutely love it. Totally see this as the future of luxury fashion, as most people are being totally outpriced by, you know, the cost of goods on buying some high-end designer clothes. So it's about giving people accessibility, and then for those that have invested in the more expensive items, they can make money from them.
Fantastic. So tell us exactly how it works, because it's I mean, you say look at when you make a purchase, look at it as an investment and look at it as sort of something that can generate income rather than a cost, don't you?
Yeah, exactly. And that, again, going back to the whole Depop generation, that's how the kids have really sort of started to look at any purchase that they make is, you know, what value does it hold? And so we've just taken that sort of almost to the next level. So the website allows you to either buy or rent. So you just click whichever journey you want to go on. And if you're, obviously the buying at resale values, which are up to 80% off the original RRP, it means that you can buy something, and then when you've had enough of it, or you're not wearing it as regularly, you can rent that out yourself. So it's a fully circular thing. But it means that as a consumer, you're retaining value in every pound that you spend. Unlike buying fast fashion, where you know the minute you spent, 20 quid on something from an online fast fashion company, it is going to landfill. It's worth nothing. It's resell it on eBay, you won't even get a pound for it.
And obviously, I mean, in a lot of the press that I read about what you're doing, you're not shy in criticising the establishment. I mean, is there real fear in the establishment from organisations such as yours?
It's a funny one. initially, I think people were intrigued by what we were doing. And actually, I think they all know that if they don't start to change the way they operate, there will be legislation at a government level, which is more onerous than sort of, self-imposing changes to make sure that you operate in a more sustainable way. So through lockdown actually really played to our favour on that, where it gave these bigger companies time to think and sort of reassess and build new strategies. And we had a lot of them come to us to say, well, can we take the tech that you've got and do this ourselves? So off the back of that, we've launched a separate part of the business called My Ventures, where we just power the tech for other businesses who want to offer rental and resale across their stock. And we're working with a company called EcoSki, with Brands Bride, with Vivian Westwood. We're starting to sign up, lots of clients where My Wardrobe doesn't feature. It's just us powering their tech and logistics.
So what sort of numbers are we talking about now, Sacha? Since when you started to now, I mean, is it an explosion, or is it just a gradual, steady growth?
Yeah, I mean, I would say it could be an explosion. We just don't have the manpower. So we've got about 90 conversations underway with brands and retailers. And we're having to pick the ones that make the most sense for us to work with at this stage. So yeah, we are developing a PaaS solution, which is a platform as a service, to allow people to plug in the tech without us having to be there to kind of hold their hands all the way through. Because, potentially we could end up with thousands of brands and retailers worldwide who want to use the tech that we have. But obviously we can't be there to account manage every single one of them. So that's what we're building out at the moment, alongside helping a few of the big ones. There's some really big ones coming up that you'll see in the next couple of months, but we're under NDA at the moment. So unfortunately can't share that information yet. But it's really good because there's some luxury ones, but there's also some mass market. And that's great because that's where the change starts to happen, where it becomes mainstream and normal to be buying even high street products at resale instead of buying everything new all the time.
And you had some great publicity recently when with the PM's wife pictured in one of your dresses. Give us an insight into the impact that one picture like that can have for a company like yours.
Yeah, it's been incredible actually, and I think it is the culmination of everything. It's the fact, it's the post-COVID thing where people are more environmentally aware, looking for other alternatives, looking for things that no one wants to be spending £3,000-4,000 on a dress, which is how much kind of wedding dresses of that nature are. And actually, if you can rent it for £45 a day, why wouldn't you? You kind of, instead of talk about a one-wear item. So yeah, we've got a massive amount of traffic, and actually it's, I think, a trust thing as well. So where we've got, it was almost like it was too good to be true that you could borrow a Chanel bag, and pay kind of £45 a day for that, and people almost think, well, is it fake? Is it real? Like, we don't really know what this business is. And the good thing with working with Carrie is obviously she sort of legitimizes everything that we've got. But she was a real customer, she just came through as a customer. We've worked with her for a long time. That's not the first time that we dressed her. And we just were asked not to go to the press about it, so we didn't. And actually, even when the story first broke, it was all credited to Net-a-Porter, because the press had assumed that's where she got the dress, because they were the only UK stockists. And we still weren't allowed to say anything. And then eventually it was a journalist at the Telegraph that worked it out. She saw that we had the dress and that it had been rented, and she contacted James Chepperson, who was our chair, and said, is it you? Did Carrie actually get the dress from you? And at that point we went back to the press aides and said, look, can we now say yes to this? And they said, yeah, okay, you can now acknowledge that it's you. So that was, it was a very exciting couple of days once it all went live.
So what goes behind the photo is quite complicated, and lots of phone calls and permission. Yeah. So but ultimately, obviously, it was, as you say, it was very positive for you in terms of the outcomes.
And obviously client confidentiality on what we do. Like, we do dress a lot of celebrities and news presenters, and but we wouldn't talk about any of them unless they absolutely want to be, you know, named as being, and most of them post on Instagram and so on and are quite proud to say that they're working with us, but if they don't, we would never share the information that we supply items to them.
So what's the ultimate ambition? You've referenced the ventures project that you're working with I think you said 90, didn't you, brands at the moment? And where do you see MyWardrobeHQ this time next year? I mean, it seems like a long way away, and an awful lot can happen.
Yeah, there's a lot already in the pipeline. MyWardrobeHQ is the trailblazer, I guess, for everything that we'll be offering on ventures. And because we're growing quickly but still a startup, it puts us in a really nice position that we can be a bit more daring in some of the things that we try to do. So already we put in place things like we plant a tree every time there's a rental or a resale. Everything we do is, every decision we make is keeping things kind of sustainable and environmentally sound. And it's quite nice to be in the position where we've got enough funding to be able to make those decisions without it affecting. That's an interesting one for the rest of retail to be looking at. Like, it is possible to build a sustainable business and be in fashion.
And so in terms of ownership and funding, etc., whereabouts are you on that particular journey?
We've got a lot of investors. We have a lot of angel investors. That was a strategy actually from the get-go. So we've got about 30 investors. Most of them are connected in the fashion industry. And the next round will be to raise quite a high valuation, and we'll look to VC or a corporate, a fashion corporate, where there's a natural sort of alliance with what we're doing. But yeah, we're in a lucky position where we're sort of not too worried about that because our revenue figures are really good. We're already at break even, and that's after a year of COVID, you know. So we're comfortable on that front, which is good. And it's just about, I think, growth on the venture side is the most exciting part, because obviously, you know, let's say you're Stella McCartney, it's much easier to rent and sell retail to fans of Stella McCartney than it is to do it through MyWardrobeHQ, because you've got such an engaged audience. You know, your conversion rate is 12 times what it would be than if we were trying to do it. So to sort of make a difference quickly, our aim is to get with as many brands as possible through ventures, and then just grow. My wardrobe will just grow naturally kind of alongside that without needing a huge marketing spend.
Hopefully you'll be able to get a few more staff and save you having to do all those miles and all those hours eventually, and all that paid off. But you enjoy it. Yeah,
I mean, no, it is a buzz. It has to be there are some crazy things that have been going on that you just couldn't imagine with a startup. And we've been really lucky with the support that we've had. The team's incredible. Everybody works their socks off. It's almost like, I don't want it to turn into some really big business, but I guess inevitably that's going to happen at some point in the near future.
We'll see you on the speaking circuit soon, I'm sure, as a motivational speaker. Is that in your plans?
No, I'm going to just have a holiday. I just want to go and have cream teas in Devon and just, look at the sea. I'm way too old to be doing a startup. So.
Brilliant. Well, I really appreciate you joining us. Good luck at Vista Village. How long are you there for?
Till August the 3rd.
Brilliant. Yeah. Well, really appreciate you joining us. Thank you very much. And hopefully we'll see you soon. You take care.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks then. Take care. See you later.